Hello dear students, and welcome to today's lecture. In today's lecture we will be talking about writing about word level. But before that, I really appreciate your turnout as well as appreciating your questions. Do you have any questions to ask me before we start? Yes, please, go ahead.
We weren't able to be in touch last lecture, the previous lecture I mean. So could you please give us a brief note about it?
Marvelous, I will brief you on that. Thank you very much for this question. This is a very loaded question from the viewpoint of being keen on the topic. You know, last lecture we spoke about writing at a word level, and before that we also spoke about writing at letter level. And writing at a word level will give you an insight of knowing lots of meanings, as we say. Words in English are bricks of meaning, do they? So they do play a very important role with regard to your communication with people. Thank you very much for this question. Do you have any other question? Anyone who has any other question? Yes, please, go ahead.
How many levels do we have up to a word level?
Yes, thank you very much also for this question. And you seem to me that you were also out of touch, weren't you? You know, we have 4 levels. We have writing at letter level, and writing at word level, then at sentence level, then at paragraph level. And that will be crowned by punctuation. Thank you very much for this question. Is there anyone who has a question once again? Anyone wants to ask a question before we start? Before we start going on our topic. Okay, if you don't have questions, I have questions. Okay? This is an interaction. You know, what do nouns refer to? I mean, who can mention to me the types of nouns? The types of nouns. First of all, how many types do we have for nouns in English? How many types? How many types do we have? Huh? How many types? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Huh?
4 types.
Can you mention one of them or all of them?
Okay. Proper noun.
Proper nouns.
Collective nouns.
Collective nouns. Can you help him?
Yes, I can help him. We have 4 types: proper nouns, collective nouns, common nouns, and abstract nouns.
Abstract nouns, marvelous. And I want you to give me, what do proper nouns refer to? I mean, what do we mean by proper nouns?
Proper nouns are nouns of people.
Nouns for people, marvelous.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
just like names.
Like names, yeah.
Yes, just like names. And what about common nouns? What do common nouns refer to?
Common nouns refer to something in common.
Just
like teacher.
A teacher.
Yes, you can say a girl.
Yes, a girl,
boy.
a boy, and so on.
And so on.
Thank you very much. And now let's have the third type. What's the difference between abstract nouns and concrete nouns? What's the difference? We knew the similarity, didn't we? We knew the similarity between the two. But let us now know the difference between the abstract nouns. You know abstract nouns? Those are nouns which take place in the mind only. You don't have to touch them. For example, beauty. This is abstract noun. You say honesty. That's also abstract noun. Concrete noun, just like a noun which you can, desk, chair, a noun which you can touch. That's a concrete. Concrete and tangible, means tangible. And the fourth type is collective nouns. What do we mean by collective nouns? Any idea? Any other participants? Any idea? Huh? Any idea about collective nouns?
I think it's like team.
Team, marvelous.
Yes.
Team, flock.
Flock, yes.
Flock can be a verb as well. The word flock in English can be a verb, just like a bird of a feather.
I have an example.
Yes, please.
A bird of a feather flock together.
Yes, that's marvelous. You just took it from my tongue.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, What's the difference again between countable nouns and uncountable nouns? This is very easy. Countable nouns and uncountable nouns. What's the difference? Can you just shoot your answer there? Countable nouns. Yes,
I think
please.
they are nouns. They are for things that can be counted.
Yes, things
And
which you can
uncount-
count. 1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4, and so on. And uncountable nouns,
For this,
yes, just like water,
yeah,
is uncountable.
uncountable.
You see? Fish, uncountable noun.
Yeah.
These are the uncountable nouns. So let us give examples to show how a noun can belong to more than one category. Huh? Again, my question, give an example to show that how a noun can belong to more than one category. Okay, a verb can describe an action. For example, the students are studying for the exam. What kind of tense we use here? We use the present continuous tense. The students are studying. This is before and in front of your eyes. Now let's have a look at this utterance. A verb can describe an event. For example, it is raining heavily outside. It is raining heavily outside. Again, it is present continuous tense. Let us have another example. A verb can describe a situation. The weather is nice today. This is present. The weather is nice today. This is present. And let us have another example also. A verb can describe a change. A change. As time went on, this is our sentence. As time went on, the kids grew impatient. Kids are impatient, you know. They can't tolerate something for too long. And now let's have this utterance. Verbs can be classified in two main groups. And this is very important, by the way. Main verbs and auxiliary verbs. What do we mean by auxiliary verbs? What do we mean by that? Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. For example, I am a lecturer. I am a demonstrator. This is an auxiliary verb. Let us have a look at auxiliary verbs can be lexical verbs. Lexical verb just like verbs that have meaning. Lexical means meaning. Can become lexical verbs that have meaning. For example, helping verbs. These are auxiliary verbs. Go, come, stand, organize, succeed. And you know very well, dear students, that nothing succeeds like success. Nothing succeeds like success. And here we are going to have examples on auxiliary verbs or examples of auxiliary verbs just like is, are, do, can, must, will. And let's have the verb to be. Is, are, am, was, were for the past. Was and were for the past. Is, are, am for the singular and plural as well. The verb to do. Do, does, did. For example, what do you do every day? What do you do every day? I go to the mosque every day. What did you do yesterday? What did you do yesterday? I went shopping yesterday. What does Ali do every day? He performs his 5 prayers inside the mosque every day. And now let's have auxiliary verbs can have 2 main classes. Primary auxiliary verbs, the verbs to have. These are primary, initial. Have, has, and had. And now let's have can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, must, have to, need, used to in the past, ought to. For example, I ought to prepare myself better for the upcoming exams. And auxiliary verbs can help us to make negative and questions. He didn't believe what you said. Number 2, they mustn't behave in this way. Number 3, are you in a hurry? I would like to have a word with you. I'd like to have a word with you. Are you in a hurry? And now let's have auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs help to make negative and questions. Will you be able to do that? How much have you paid for this ticket? Here it is for free. It is for free. What do you do every day? And so on. Lots of things auxiliary can do. Auxiliaries can be used in place of full verbs to avoid repetition. Don't be repetitious. Taha loves action films, and so does Umar. When you say, for example, using the auxiliary, I am a lecturer, someone else says, so am I. When you say, I like horror films, somebody else says, so do I, because that's the verb. That's the verb. And have a look here. Noura doesn't play tennis. Neither do I. Neither do I. You see? And auxiliaries can be used in place of full verbs to avoid repetition, as we said. Sarah can speak English, and so can I. You know, you go by the auxiliary. You are governed by the auxiliary, just like this utterance. Sarah can speak English, and so can I. If we make it negative, Sarah can't speak English, we say Sarah can't speak English, and neither can I. Neither and neither. You know, the same pronunciation. Selma sings as well as you do. Muna is a teacher. Some pupils do their homework in the break, during interval, you know, during interval. And modal auxiliary verbs express a number of aspects. Shall we start? This is suggestion. Shall we start? And shall I do that for you? This is an offer. How can I make it a request? Will you do that for me? That's a request. Will you do that for me? It's a request. It is not an offer. An offer means you offer to do something. You offer to help. For example, can you do that for me? That's an offer. That's a request, sorry. Could you open the window, please? Request. Could you open the window, please? That's a request. She can play chess. Ability. Know how to play chess. And she can jump high. Physical ability. Able to. Can I come in? Asking for permission, whether you are allowed or not. And let's have modal verbs also can express a number of aspects. For example, the door can be locked. Possibility. There is a possibility you don't lock it, you leave it open. You see? The door may be locked. This is probability. Be careful about the two usages and try to differentiate. Number 9, you should see a doctor. Advice. For example, you look ill. What happened to you? You should see a doctor. This is my advice to you. And advice is ever in want. I need to, this is number 10. I need to do some assignments, some task. This is necessity. And you have to know that, dear students, necessity knows no law. Sometimes necessity is very important, and you can break the barriers by necessity. Let's have complete the following chart. This is your turn. Self-assessment questions. Self-assessment questions. This is from your side. Complete the following. But if you can't answer them, I will answer them. You see? Verbs. We have auxiliary verbs. Look at the chart here. What is the difference between full verbs and helping verbs? This is my question to you. What is the difference in meaning between helping verbs and auxiliary verbs? Any idea? Let me clarify it more. What is the difference between full verbs? A full verb is just like an action verb. I do my prayers 5 times a day. I perform my prayers 5 times a day. This is full verb. But a helping verb, I am a teacher. Am is a helping verb. And she can sing very well. She can dance very well. Can here is an auxiliary verb, helping verb. List 10 of the functions of modal verbs. This is very easy. One indicates possibility, can, for example, or could, shall or should, may or might, probability, and so on. Just like, for example, what is the difference between full verbs and helping verbs? We mentioned this. Auxiliary verbs have two important functions. What are they? Give examples. And we will be able to answer. An adjective is a word that describes a person or thing. For example, big, red, and clever. In a big house, red light, and a clever idea. Don't worry about the answers. They will come later. Positive adjectives. Adjectives can be classified into three kinds. One kind is positive. Positive is the opposite of negative. And then comparative. You compare it between two things. Comparative adjective and superlative adjective. For example, he is tall. Ahmad is taller than him. Umar is the tallest boy in class. And so on. A positive adjective is an adjective in the basic form, as we say. For example, big, rich, expensive, etc. Positive adjectives can be used or are used to describe one thing. There is a big difference between the education system now and in the past. There is, yeah. The area is rich in wildlife. A lot of animals are there. Don't worry. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. That's a proverb, you know. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And ignorance is the opposite of education. The generation gap between me and my kids, I have one of them here, is bigger than that between me and my parents. Let me say that again. The generation gap between me and my kids is bigger than that between me and my parents. And have a look also. Organic food is richer than that which is produced by chemical fertilizers. That's true. This computer is more expensive than that one, but it is more efficient. It can do more work. And let's have a look here. The biggest problem that faced education in the past decades, 10 years, decades, tens and tens of years, is the lack of trained teachers. This we have it now also, you see. And now let's have a look at superlative adjectives are used to explore and to express the highest degree of something. The internet is now considered to be the richest source of information. That is true. That's a fact, by the way. And you are all affected by the fact. Touch. Superlative adjectives can also express the highest degree of something, as we said. Touch screen mobiles are the most expensive these days. They are the most expensive. And adjectives, in general, we talk about, it is clear from the examples above that adjectives inflect. Inflect means change. They can change their forms to become comparative and superlative. How does this happen? Let us see. Most short adjectives take ER. For example, we have a monosyllabic adjective with one syllable. Tall, taller than, the tallest. Short, shorter than, the shortest, and so on. This is a monosyllabic adjective. So this is most short adjectives, we call short adjective. Take for comparative and EST for superlative. For example, easy, easier, but you have to change the Y into IE and be careful. Easy, easier, the easiest. Easy, easier, the easiest. So what happened? Cheap, cheaper, the cheapest. Safe, safer, the safest. Big, bigger, the biggest. You have to double the consonant. Be careful of doubling the consonant. The consonant here has to be doubled. And now let's have another look. Longer adjectives, for example, Beautiful has 4 syllables. Therefore, we say she is more beautiful than her mother. Her elder sister is the most beautiful of all in the house. So be careful. When you have more than 1 syllable, those syllables are called, those words, sorry, are called polysyllabic words. When you have polysyllabic words, for example, you have the word difficult. You say, this lecture is more difficult than the previous one. And the upcoming one might be the most difficult of all. So be careful. Difficult, more difficult than the most difficult. Difficult, expensive, more expensive than the most expensive, and so on. Also, let us try danger, dangerous, more dangerous than the most dangerous. Enormous, enormous means very huge, very great. Enormous, more enormous than the most enormous. Some adjectives are irregular. For example, regular and irregular is very important in English with regard to verbs and with regard to adjectives as well. So, good changed to better when it comes into a comparative form. He is good, his brother is better than him, his sister is the best of all. So, for example, something bad, something worse than it, and something else is the worst of all. Well, with regard to health, better, and the best. Be careful. Good, better, the best. Well, good, better, the best. Old in the family. Elder, the eldest. Old, elder, the eldest. You know, this is very important. And let's have another look at asleep, dead, equal. And also, exercise 3 can illustrate this chart. Complete the table below. This is your turn, by the way. Positive, comparative, superlative. So we have short. We want the comparative and the superlative. Yes? Who can tell me about this? Yes, please.
Tall.
Short.
Short.
Yes.
Shorter. The shortest.
Marvelous. You can add shorter than the shortest. And if you illustrate that with examples, might be much better. Okay. Yes. And let's have another look at stupid. More stupid than the most stupid. Yes. Stupid, you know, stupid means idiot. Idiot. Complete idiot. Sometimes when one is complete idiot, a doctor, a psychiatrist has to be there, has to be near him. And let's have complete the chart again. Positive, comparative, superlative. Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Yes, please.
The more interesting.
More interesting than?
More is interesting than the most interesting.
Yes, most interesting. The
Yes.
most interesting of all.
Yes.
Interesting has more than 1 syllable.
Yes.
Interesting. When something is interesting, it means it appeals to your heart. You like it.
Yeah.
So let's have boring. Is this lecture boring? Let me stop and ask you. Is it boring? Because
No,
you are
it's
sitting
not.
circuit most of the time. So it seems to be like being boring.
No.
Hopefully not.
Yes.
Hopefully not. So boring, more boring than the most boring. Let us have motivating. Motivating. Yes? Motivating. More motivating than
The most
motivating. Excellent. Familiar, more familiar than the most familiar. Rewrite. In exercise 3, you have to rewrite. Ali's IQ is 150. Umar's IQ is 140. Sarah's IQ is 160. You know IQ? What does the word IQ stands for? Perhaps you give him the mic. Yes?
I think it is indicate to the clever or to the smart or for something.
Wonderful. That's good again. You know, IQ refers to intelligent quotient.
Intelligent quotient.
Yes, intelligent quotient. You know, that's a rate of cleverness. Yes. How you measure cleverness. Ali versus Umar, Sarah versus Ali and Umar. We say Ali's IQ is 150, Umar's again is 140, and we say Ali versus Umar is more, you know, Yes. Sarah versus Ali and Umar is the most. Let us. Muna is 20 years old. Noura is 22 years old. Selma is 24 years old. Muna versus Noura. Huh? Muna versus Noura. Muna versus Noura. Younger.
Younger.
Younger. Selma versus Noura. Selma versus Noura.
Elder.
Elder. Marvelous. Muna versus Noura and Selma.
The youngest.
The youngest of them all. The youngest of the three. Marvelous. Exercise 3 also. In a questionnaire, I asked my pupils to rank the following activities in the order they motivate them. They motivate them. You know, the result was as follows. Let us have a look at the result here. The result, songs, with regard to songs, with regard to games, with regard to quizzes, tests. You know, write 3 sentences using the adjective motivating to describe your class. Huh? Who can do that? I think this is the most difficult question, isn't it? Use the word motivating to describe your class now. Can you attempt doing that? For example, our class is more motivating than their class. The pupils' class is the most motivating of all. You see, to my class, the activities, this is the word activities here. To my class, the activities are, yes, motivating. To my pupils, 3 are than what? To my pupils, 3, more motivating than, this should be here, than theirs, for example. To my class, I also say more are the and dot activity. You know, drawing on this, write 3 sentences using the adjectives motivating to describe your class. To my class, the activities are more motivating. To my pupils, 3 motivating are more motivating than 4. To my class, the most motivating of all is their activity. You see, you divided your class, you are a teacher. You divided your class in 3 groups. The first group, Blue Nile group, B and G. White Nile group, W and G. And Confluence group, the meeting of the 2 Niles. Confluence means meeting of the 2 Niles. So you discovered that B and G is always eager to participate, to take place, participate, to take part. W and G is eager to participate, but not so much as B and G. The participation of CG is by far less than the other 2 groups. You see, this is comparison. Answer the following questions, drawing on the self-assessment questions as well. There are 3 types of adjectives. What are they? 3 types of adjectives, as we have highlighted right now. 3 types of adjectives. We have, we have the positive adjective, the comparative adjective, and the superlative adjective. And the superlative adjective. It's as easy as ABC. So, what does each type do? Each type, for example, type number 1 gives a single adjective. For example, he is tall. This is describing one person. And type number 2, which is comparative, yes, comparing between 2 people. He is taller than his father. I hope so. And type number 3 is the superlative, as we say, superlative. And then you say their grandfather, sometimes it could be, their grandfather is the tallest of them all. And which adjective change with ER and EST? Again, monosyllabic adjective change with ER when it is comparative. Tall, taller than. And then superlative adjective change to EST with regard to monosyllabic words. Tall, taller than the tallest. Give examples of your own. Answer the following questions also. There are 3 types of adjectives. What are they? We mentioned. Which adjectives change with more and most? Huh? Again?
The polysyllabic.
Marvelous.
Adjectives.
Polysyllabic adjectives. Adjectives of more than one syllable. For example, dangerous. More dangerous than the most dangerous. Give example of adjectives which are irregular. Good, better, the best.
The best.
Yes, good, better than, the best. Bad, worse, the worst. And so on. Answer the following questions. There are 3 types of adjectives. What are they? Again, how does the following adjective change? Clever, happy, wrong, eager. Let us have clever. When you compare to 2 or 3 or more than 3, how can we go about it? Cleverer than the cleverest.
The cleverest. Yes.
And you could possibly say, marvelous. You could possibly say more clever, cleverest. And then let's have happy, happier, the happiest. Wrong, wronger, the wrongest, more wrong, and the most wrong. Eager, eager, you want more, voracious, eager of learning, you want more, you like to know more. Eager, eagerest, eager, more eager, the most eager. And last of which, I think, answers the following questions. There are 3 types of adjectives. What are they also? What does the following adjective change? Here, clever, as again, this is repeated, answer the following questions. And we are going to have, to have these. I think this is the end of our class for today. A verb can describe, remember, a verb can describe what a person or thing does or what happens. For example, a verb can describe an action. The students are studying for the exam. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have benefited of the change of our dealing with letter writing and word writing. Next time, we will be able, if nothing intervenes, and if may Allah will, we may be able to talk about writing at a sentence level. After that, we will be able to talk about writing on, a paragraph level. And the last of which will be crowned by success. I hope that will be, when we crown it by success, we talk about punctuation. Punctuation is only in writing. Is it only in writing? No, it is not. No, it is not. Marvelous. It is not only in writing. Punctuation can take place when you speak. When you speak, you stop for the other party to listen to what you are saying. That's punctuation. But it is a verbal punctuation. It's a verbal punctuation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, with this, we conclude for today, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much, and thanks for the team working to reproduce these classes. Thanks a lot.